Box Out FM from New Delhi to the world. You know, we keep it fresh out the box. It's your boy Sue Real, and I'm here with the one and only Branko.
Yay!
Pew, 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 pew. Sound the alarm, y'all. Yo, what time is it in Portugal now?
What time is it in Portugal? Very early. Well, it's like 5.5 hours less.
Wake up, Portugal. We out in India.
We're live.
We got your chai masala right here. Man, it's great to see you, finally meet you. But I don't think this is your first time in India, is it?
It's not. It's not. I was here. I've been here a couple of times. Actually, I did a. This was like a very long vacation I did when I was younger with my friends and stuff. We came
Really?
over here. The whole backpacking, the deal. We did all that. So that was a lot of fun. And then I've just been back for mostly for work. Not that I think any of this is work, but just obviously we did a tour with Buraka. I was here 2017 shooting an episode for a TV show I produced for Portuguese television.
Oh.
And this is my first time performing as Branko. Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah, we're looking forward to that. For those of y'all who've been ignorant for the last 10 years, Branko was the key founder of maybe the first global-based supergroup, Buraka Som Sistema.
Yeah, that's a way to put it. Definitely.
Before everything that came after. I mean, I remember the first time I came across Buraka Som Sistema, I was living in New York.
Okay.
And you guys had just dropped Sound of Kuduro.
Okay.
With
okay.
MIA.
We did it. We were playing.
I think you had a
had
U.S.
a show.
tour.
Yeah, yeah.
My memory is
Definitely,
faded.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think I saw you guys. And at that time, it was just like, it was so different from everything else
Yeah.
in the U.S. market, right? In the U.S. market, it was either hip-hop, electronic, or rock and roll. And then it seemed like you guys came and just went,
Yeah, it was a different sound, I guess. I guess other people were already on the same direction. We were heavily influenced by people like MIA and all those great artists who were already putting their own vision and identifying the roots and where they came from as a big part in their sound. So I think that's kind of what we ended up bringing to the table, which was this very explosive sound coming from Angola. Half of the band was from Angola, so we had that, and then we grew up in Lisbon, listening mostly to UK, drum and bass, broken beats, all that like heavy bass influenced music, and the crossover moment happened in Lisbon, and so it was a very quick process from putting some demos together to to that tour you're talking about in New York, because I think the sound was just different and people.
Yeah.
It was you couldn't be, it wasn't something you would be indifferent to.
I feel like it was also one of the first. I mean, I don't know about this, but you've always been involved in what bringing out what, like, I guess we call in the mainstream like nano genres, right? Whether it's kuduro or zouk bass and all these I guess localized genres that have popped up,
Yeah.
and you've helped bring them to an international stage.
I think the one of the breakthroughs at some point, because obviously this was new for everybody when we were starting the band, but one of the biggest breakthroughs as we were traveling and getting to know the world and getting to know other artists, one of the breakthroughs was that the same fuel that was fueling us to do that in Lisbon, or that was fueling the kids back in Angola as well to do the kuduro stuff, that existed in a bunch of different cities. It had different names, and it had different BPMs, and it had different different approaches, but the vibe, the energy, and the clash between some sort of traditional rhythmic patterns and what we now call electronic music and dance music and what kids are listening to in the clubs, we were able to identify a bunch of cities with that in mind. It's obviously, that was also a very we had to do something about it. So obviously, just communicating with a bunch of all these artists.
These were cities in Africa?
No, just everywhere. Obviously, like if you look at what the label we put together, Enchufada, is doing now, it's kind of the beginning of that. So, if you go to Lima in Peru and you hear all about these cumbia sounds getting mixed, coming from Colombia to Peru to this and that, and then now suddenly they're in the clubs and act like dengue 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 is sort of like bringing them across the world, and just other other cities like that were just like, boiling with talent and creativity, and had something unique to present to the world. So it just made sense to identify those little genres, and just push them as much as possible.
Yeah, for a long time, I would eagerly wait for whenever you drop the Enchufada Records, Branko's label would drop the new Uppercuts compilation, because it would be.
Oh yeah, that was a good period, right?
Yeah, because it was just always like you selected these random producers that I'd been following, and it was very influential for us here. For us here at that time, the scene was just starting to come up, and you really only had two options: either you were Bollywood or you were nothing. And a lot of the stuff that you put out over the years really kind of gave us a formula.
Cool.
This is what you
Awesome.
spoke about, of taking the traditional sounds and combining
And
with
putting
the
them in the
electronic
club. Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, putting them in the club. So tell me, when you guys put together that first bunch of demos in Lisbon, Portugal, what was the scene like then and there? Like local base? How did?
There was really no scene. We were just coming out of an idea, a concept. We knew that there was, all the Kuduro stuff was happening in Angola, and we knew that in some way we could figure out a way to adapt that to clubs in Portugal, in Europe, and then eventually around the world. And that was kind of the goal that we set to do, and that's kind of how it all started. I guess the biggest challenge was because this started getting picked up in different countries, different places, different things. So we didn't want to lose singing in Portuguese at the same time that we didn't want to lose the vibe and the beat. So I guess one of the biggest challenges was, how do we make our music understandable and relatable for other people. And I guess a lot of the thing, one thing that we did a lot was just playing around with words and vocal sounds and stuff, and treating the vocal like as a percussion instrument. I don't know, maybe I'll play a song, because it's probably...
I think you need to play that
yeah,
tune,
I'll
because
play the
everybody
song.
here knows that tune.
Just to start the conversation, I think we can speak over it if we want to. I just maybe we're talking and people don't know about what this sounds like, so might as well play something.
You all need to hear what this sounds like. I think people know this one. This one.
I mean, yeah, they might. I don't know. You never know. The song has been out since 2012. 11 maybe.
When you came to India, Buraka, this song had a nice resurgence.
Yeah.
And I have the Caspa remix of it.
Okay, yeah, it's like the
Always in my
dubstep.
set. Yeah.
So I guess if whoever's listening has seen one of your sets, they've heard this. Yeah, a bit of a classic.
A bit of a classic, huge classic.
Yes, sometimes because I've been playing these songs for such a long time, but the reaction is always so fun that I kind of forget that the song is a little bit less than 10 years old, but it's almost 10 years old.
I think it's a classic, man. I'm gonna have that song played at my funeral. Bye 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 bye.
That's a good funeral song. That's
got another one of my favorites lined up over here. I see.
Should we just play this one?
Tell us a bit about what are your sets like now as Branko? Like, I mean, do you miss the whole live stage show, or do you now you have more control over your own style and music? Or
I think I'm in a space where it was good to have the band, and this was very intense. It was 10 years of very intense touring and just doing everything. And then when we split up in 2016, it was a very conscious decision of, okay, we're doing this because we know that each individual has a bunch of ideas that we can use the same idea and spread it, even further and apply it to other artists, and just keep pushing this lifestyle, which is, I think it's more of a lifestyle than anything else, So that was the main point. So for me, it was very important because I've always been a very big fan of songs and collaborations and stuff. So for me, when the group was over and I finally had like some time to sit down and think about projects, it was all about like just gathering up as many people as possible, putting together this network of talented artists from around the globe with the same lifestyle and ideas in mind, and just sort of go at it in terms of the label Enchufada, but as well in terms of my own production and collaboration. So my sets today are very much, everything that we've put out on Enchufada for the past 4 or 5 years. And then I have music from both my albums, Atlas, that came out in 2015, and then Nosu, who came out just a month ago. And then obviously I'll go back to some of these classics and stuff. So my set has a little bit of that, but I'm focusing more on the artist Branko now than on Buraka.
Well, absolutely, as are we. So stick around, guys, because we're going to be getting more into Branko's music over the next half hour, 40 minutes. You got another track lined up for us?
I do. Well, this is kind of because you also mentioned the nano genres. I thought that was an interesting expression. This is something we kind of we tried it out. It's based on this rhythm, this giant genre called kizomba. And it's such a big part of the Portuguese-speaking country's culture but it's more like romantic style songs and just radio songs mostly. But we wanted to sort of grab the drum pattern and whatever made it so cool, and sort of flip it into like club versions.
It is very club friendly and it is sexy as hell. Let's hear it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
And Sente means?
So Sente means feel. This was on Buraka's last album. It was called Buraka. The album was called Buraka. It was out in 2014.
Spotify that shit. Get the feel. Sente. Sante, Sante. Oh my gosh. Maybe we can get into. So you've released now two albums
Yes.
under your solo moniker
Hmm.
as Branko. Um, and those albums, you think of the music more as songs, as complete
Hmm.
songs, rather than just like club music, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think as you go through this process, you realize that there's a lot of really interesting formulas that still need that could still occupy an interesting space in terms of pop music, and this polyrhythmical ideas and multi everything, just figuring out ways of fusing and celebrating diversity and celebrating different ideas, and but in my case, I've always had the idea to do that, but also, at the same time incorporate some sort of a pop sensibility
Yeah.
in songs, and just, song structures and things like that could be, relatable to everybody.
Right.
And so even though they're not like pop songs, but they're, so that's kind of like how I look at most of my production, just, trying to get that interesting melody, that interesting producer moment on the song, but then bring in a vocal and just obviously play around with all these sounds and all these rhythms and patterns from the whole Portuguese speaking countries communities. But then just grab that and then go to LA and record with somebody, or go to South Africa and record with someone there, or go to Peru and record with a bunch of percussionists and stuff. So it's been about, just grabbing that little melting pot and just sort of like, trying it out with a bunch of different influences, and that's mostly been what I've been releasing as Branko. Yeah.
That sounds so exciting, man. Like you traveling all over the world to create this like one piece of music. You're making your own musical masala.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much.
Yeah. Would you like to play something from
Yeah, of course.
your Bronco phase?
I guess I'll play a song which it was a bit done all over the place, just like as we were discussing. It's a collaboration with a Portuguese Angolan producer, and then I ended up recording the vocals in Copenhagen with an English vocalist. Just one of those things where you just luckily meet up with the nicest people in the studio, and the music just happens. So this song is called Eventually, and it was on Atlas, my 2015 album.
Hear it.
It will happen eventually. Just breathe. What will be, if you just breathe. It will happen eventually. Just breathe. What will be, if you just breathe. Fame rider, you are a fame rider. Fame rider, you are a fame
So, tell me something. I was wondering. We got a lot of producers and heads and
Nice.
other vocalists and so on who tune into Box Out FM. Um, when you're traveling all over the world, maybe collecting samples and recording vocals and so on with people, do you have a preferred any preferred gear or software or tech that you use?
I just literally it's everything in the laptop. I don't make. I think I got to a point where I made a decision of like I'm not gonna justify not being able to make something because I don't have my usual tools. So I just made sure that my usual tools were my laptop, which is always with me. So yeah, everything is done here. I wish it was indestructible, but it's not. So throughout the years you gotta. But I produce on Ableton. But then like to record around the world, I feel like these days it's not that hard to go online and find like a studio you can book online and just book a couple of hours. I think just having the clear thought of being in the studio, there's an engineer who's sitting and recording, so you can just sort of like you can just use your time to connect with the person who's working with you, and just you can focus on on that relationship and how and what is the best music possible that you guys can make together. So I don't want to, if I'm working with someone, I don't want to have my face in my laptop, and then so I'd rather just go to a studio. I'll send stems to the main computer and we'll just chill. The music is playing in the background and we're just making music. I'll come up with other stuff. The vocalist comes up with their stuff. This way we're all like just balanced. So that's pretty much how I do it when recording outside of my own environment.
And you mentioned that as being really key, that like rather than getting the technical stuff down, to be able to connect with an individual.
Yeah, because in my mind, and I think if producers who are listening, I'm always gonna have time to come back home and geek the fuck out with everything, like all the technical shit, all the plugins, all those things. I'll do it on my own free time, on my underwear, in my house, looking very ridiculous, and I won't post a video of it ever. But that's I feel like there's specific moments for the music to happen inside a whole like a song cycle, and obviously I know that moment is gonna happen, so I don't want to bring that vibe into a studio.
So do you have one of these tunes that you mix down in your underwear?
All of them.
All of them. Every single one. That's chuddy life, bro. That's what we call it out here in India, right? Your chuddies. Which one is this?
So this is an instrumental song from my latest album, Nosu, and this was a co-production with Pedro, Enchufada artist. This was definitely done between just us two in the studio working, and then me in my underwear, in my house. So yeah, I'll play that one.
Let's hear it. let's take a little walk down memory lane.
Yeah.
Now you've been touring and playing all over the world now for like over a decade, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, a couple.
So
couple,
what would
like
have
12
been
years, definitely.
what would have been the craziest place, location that you've ever performed at?
Mm.
Because you've been to some pretty far out places. Some places that I know a lot of our viewers might not dare to go. Like, I mean, even Angola or
Yeah, yeah.
you
I
know?
mean, we've played, we toured in a bunch of yeah, everywhere. I think the we had a funny experience with just like traveling. You know, when you travel and then the days, like the hours, and it's like you spend 10 hours on a plane, but then it's like you didn't. Well, I remember there was one very intense trip where we did Macau in China and then straight to LA, and just you know those shows aren't very fun because your brain is still adjusting to a lot of different things. I don't know. Usually, for me, and this is something I'm trying to do now with because I you know just valuing the idea of being in an amazing place and being able to experience a bit better is not do the touring as quick as you know as we were doing it back then, because you know trying to at least get you know 1 or 2 off days in between so that I can just you know grab my camera and just walk around and just you know take some pictures, talk to some people and just sort
Smell
of
the
like,
roses.
yeah, exactly. So that's been a big thing. But we've done some crazy stuff. I feel like I remember Buraka came to when we came to tour in India. We played a festival, NH7. That was very you know mind blowing for us because we were not expecting that kind of reaction. So we were just like, okay, cool. But then to completely counter that, the next day or like 2 days after, we played in Bangalore, and we had like 5 people in the audience. So it was very much like this, like these 2 different experiences in the same, but they were both great.
Yeah.
But they were very you know different in terms of you know the expectations slash you know what you're like dealing with on the road like all the time, which is anybody gonna come to the show? Like you know does anybody know this music at all? Because it's not you know it's not something that's playing on every radio all the time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Bangalore, y'all got to show some improvement this time around, right? We got Ocean Tide in the building. Your brother Ocean Tide is here, so I know you're gonna come out this weekend. All right. Well, let's see. Maybe you have something exclusive you can play to entice the
Let's do it,
Bangaloreans.
Well, I'll play a song that's coming out. Today is Thursday, so this is coming out on Enchufada tomorrow. It's a brand new song from Pedro, one of the young producers in the label. He has his very own like specific sound. So you know every time he puts out a song, it always ends up straight in my sets. So this is coming out tomorrow. It's exclusive. I'll just play it for you guys.
You heard it first. Box Out FM. Fresh
let me
out
know
the
what
box.
you think after.
Mas eu juro, vou explodir. sentir. Mata não tá me sentir. Mas eu juro, vou explodir.
Yeah. Bucks Out FM. We can talk about whatever we want because we got no funding. Shout out Bucks Out FM. Just a reminder, you out here right now with your boy Surreal and the one and only Branko, CEO of Enchufada Records, ex of Buraka Som Sistema, and we're gonna be burning it up tonight at Oro in New Delhi. And you've got a whole. You're going to Mumbai and Bangalore after, right?
Yes, it's like a three show tour.
It's a 3-show tour. Y'all get ready to turn up. Third culture. So tell me a bit about what it's been like for you running the label, Enchufada. It's clearly a labor of love on your part to support up-and-coming artists. I guess mostly from Portugal and.
Yes and no. I think we're pretty much we've got artists from a bunch of different places. I think just to start from the beginning, the label itself was created to put out Buraka Som Sistema music.
Sure.
And then obviously the initial years were very devoted to just that, just taking care of the group, and we were also doing agency and management. Everything was like focused on the Enchufada brand. And then as time went on and we started catching up on this amazing network of artists that was forming around us, we just started obviously picking our favorite songs and putting them out and stuff. And so from then we started doing, that's pretty much how a project like the Uppercut started. What we were discussing, like this idea that there were so many interesting producers in all these different places that were sending us music, and in some way being inspired by a lot of the stuff that was already coming out and everything, that it felt like we needed to contribute to the cycle. So we just like, okay, let's make a free song every 2 weeks, or let's make just stuff like that, just keep the music flow going as much as possible, but then at the same time establishing a core unit of artists that represented the label, and obviously that play around the world as well. And then so the message spreads really well. So it's been it's been fun mostly, and definitely
for our viewers and listeners, who would you say those core label artists are right now?
So I think to start, so I just played the Pedro song. I think
Pedro.
he's pretty much a very core Enchufada artist. Obviously the Branko stuff that we've been putting out as well. We worked pretty closely with the Alawala, who was one of our biggest projects. And so Shivani and I just spoke.
Shout out Shivani.
Yeah,
DD, how's it going?
We spoke ages ago, and because I was going a lot to Copenhagen, so we ended up sort of like crossing paths and just working on music. We put out most of the music that they've released. And then Doutorado Pro, like an Angolan, like really young kid who just produces the most awesome music. I can actually play a song from him later.
Yeah.
That's like sort of a classic as well. His stuff gets really across the globe, not because he plays a lot of shows, because he's still a bit too young and just sort of more up and coming, but because every time he drops a song, there's like 200 dance videos to that song, because the dancing crews from different gyms and dancing schools and everything around the world are like onto him, to everything that he releases. So every time he releases a song, there's like just multiple videos going of I'll play this song, and I think,
dude, I gotta hear this.
Yeah,
You got me all excited about it now.
I
make
think
my own dancing videos
this
to it.
is definitely one of Enchufada's biggest songs, and And yeah, this is definitely I don't know. It sounds very different, I think, and I think that's why people pick it up for dancing because the movement and all this. I don't know. I'll shut up and I'll play the
Oh,
song.
we like different.